The first night we installed the security cameras, it was supposed to bring relief. The kind you feel when you finally lock a door you've been meaning to fix. Because for weeks my wife and I had been hearing footsteps after midnight. Slow, careful ones that stopped the second we sat up in bed. And every time we checked on our daughter, she was asleep. Her old porcelain doll sitting upright in the corner like it always had. Glassy eyes reflecting the nightlight, harmless and forgotten. The cameras covered the hallway, the living room, the kitchen, and the staircase. And when I checked the feeds the next morning, nothing seemed out of place until I noticed something small but wrong. The doll wasn't in the corner anymore. We laughed it off at first, assuming our daughter moved it, but she swore she hadn't touched it in months. And that's when I started reviewing the footage more closely, scrubbing through hours of nothing until around 2:11 a.m., when the hallway camera glitched for half a second and the feed resumed with the doll now sitting at the far end of the hall, just outside the camera's frame, like it had been placed there deliberately, just close enough to be present, but never fully visible. Each night after that, it moved again, always during those brief static flickers, always ending up in the one spot in each room the cameras couldn't quite reach. And what chilled me wasn't just that it was moving, but that it seemed to understand exactly where it couldn't be seen. I adjusted angles, added a new camera to cover blind spots, even tested the system during the day. But every morning the doll had shifted again, patiently staying out of sight, and the footsteps came back, heavier now, pacing instead of creeping, stopping right outside our bedroom door. My wife stopped sleeping altogether. My daughter started asking why her doll was mad, and when I asked her what she meant, she told me, very calmly, that the doll didn't like being watched, and that it waited until the red lights went off, even though I'd never explained what the cameras did. On the 7th night, I stayed awake, watching the live feeds on my phone, every muscle tight, every breath shallow, and at exactly 2:11 a.m., all the cameras flickered at once, not off, just enough to blur, and when the image stabilized, the doll was standing directly in the center of the living room, fully visible for the first time, facing the camera head-on, its porcelain face closer than it should have been, its shadow stretching unnaturally long behind it. I couldn't move, couldn't look away, because the doll didn't just stand there. It slowly tilted its head like it was studying the lens, like it finally knew where I was watching from, and then, impossibly, its eyes shifted, not toward the camera, but slightly to the side, toward the hallway that led to our bedroom. That's when I heard the footsteps again, right outside the door, louder than ever, and on my phone screen, the doll raised one stiff hand and gently pressed a finger to its lips, as if asking for silence, as if reminding me that it had never been afraid of the cameras at all, only curious
about who was behind them.
We threw the doll away on a Tuesday afternoon, sealed inside 2 trash bags like that would somehow make it final, and when my mom dropped it into the dumpster behind our apartment complex, I remember feeling embarrassed for how relieved I was, like I'd been holding my breath for weeks without realizing it, because ever since we'd gotten rid of it, the house felt quieter, lighter, like whatever tension had been sitting in the corners had finally left. That night, I was in my room doing homework when my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. No area code I recognized, just a string of digits, and the message said, "Your mom is washing dishes again," which would have been easy to brush off if the sound of running water hadn't drifted down the hallway a second later. I told myself it was a prank, maybe someone guessing, maybe a coincidence. But then another text came in, slower this time, more deliberate. "She still hums when she's tired." My stomach tightened because she did, always had, and I hadn't mentioned that to anyone. I didn't respond, just stared at the screen, and a few minutes passed before my phone buzzed again, and the message read, "You're sitting on your bed." Left leg bouncing. I froze because that was exactly how I was sitting, and the room suddenly felt too quiet, like even the air was listening. I checked the number again, called it, but it went straight to voicemail with no greeting, just silence. And when I went to show my mom the messages, another text appeared before I could hand her my phone. "Don't bring her into this." The messages kept coming over the next few days, never threatening, never loud, just observational, unsettlingly intimate, describing the house in a way that felt patient and familiar. What time the lights went out, which floorboard creaked near the kitchen, how the front door stuck if you didn't pull it just right. And no matter how many times I blocked the number, it came back under a new one. Always the same tone, always watching. I stopped sleeping, started locking my bedroom door, even though the texts insisted I didn't need to, that nothing was going to happen, that it was just checking in. And when I asked it once, against my better judgment, how it knew all this, the reply came almost instantly. I was there. That was when I remembered the doll sitting in the corner of the living room for years, facing the hallway, always angled just enough to see into every room, and the way it used to feel like it was listening, even when no one was talking. I told myself it was impossible, that it was just stress connecting dots that didn't exist, until one night, close to midnight, when my phone buzzed again and the message said, "The house feels empty now," followed by, "It's colder outside," and then finally, "You shouldn't have left me outside." My heart started pounding as I realized the dumpster was just below my window, close enough that if something wanted to watch the lights turn off at night, it still could. And when I looked down into the dark, I couldn't see anything clearly. But my phone vibrated one last time with a photo attached, grainy, taken from ground level, showing my bedroom window glowing softly from inside, framed perfectly like whoever took it knew exactly where to stand. If you think the story ended when the cameras shut off, or when the phone stopped buzzing, it didn't. Because the same doll that learned how to hide from being watched is the one that learned how to watch back. And whether it's standing just outside the camera's frame or texting from a place it was never supposed to leave, it's still paying attention. So if you felt that quiet pause just now, like something lingered a second too long after the story ended, that's exactly the point. These stories don't close the door, they leave it cracked. And the next one might feel a little closer to home. If you want to keep following the things that watch, wait, and learn, make sure you subscribe, because once you notice them, they don't really stop noticing you. And trust me, you don't want to miss what the doll does next.